My name's Trevor Darrant, and I'm really pleased to have a good buddy of ours, and in fact a sponsor of the shop. It's Mr. Paul Allender of Cradle of Filth. Hi,
Hey,
Paul.
hey, how's it going?
Not bad, mate, not bad.
I get one from around the back in a...
And we're really pleased to have him here today, and we're going to ask a few questions, that perhaps things that you'd like to know. And so the first question I'm going to ask Paul at the moment is, what are you up to at present? Because I gather you're not touring at the moment.
No, we've just come back from a few gigs in Russia.
Cool.
Which went down really well. Yeah, I mean, at the moment we're taking a bit of a break. We're going into like a writing process at the moment, writing for the new album, which is coming out like, hopefully we're going to go in the studio in January time next year.
Right.
And that's what we're doing at the moment. But other than that, or just pretty much doing videos.
Excellent.
Or, you know, and just playing, really.
Right.
Just trying to get back into the swing of things.
Is the new record, is there any deviations from the normal style, anything new you're bringing in, or is it just going to be good old Cradle of Filth?
I've got a few more ideas for it to come in, you know, what I've put across to the other guys. I think it's, I mean, in the end of the day, it's going to sound like us, whatever we do.
Excellent.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think we tried to put a little bit more, you know, just a little bit, just try and steer away, because we don't want to try and keep it the same, because we don't want the fans to get bored.
No, that's true.
You know,
yeah.
So it's got a lot more groove in it again, like I've said in like previous interviews about the last album before that. But we've gone to heavier, we've gone a bit more down the faster road this time as well.
Right.
So it's taken away from a bit less of the commercialism again, you know, whereas what the last album's like, but we're also going down that road as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So what about the rest of the guys in the band? Are you in touch with them on a regular basis?
No. Yeah, sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
I speak to Dan on a regular basis for like keeping in contact with like merch and stuff.
Right.
But everyone else, no, not really. They tend to go off and do their own thing.
Right.
You know, and we don't really talk to each. I mean, we talk to each other, but not really sort of that much when we're not touring and stuff, unless it's work related. We need to do, because in the end of the day, it's our jobs, and we don't live in each other's pockets when you're trying to get some downtime. So,
with the actual recording process, I gather in the past you've told me that you actually cover a lot of your parts individually, and then is that right? You send them down line to the drummer, or for instance, on something like that? Yeah. They work on what you've done.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, 9 times out of 10 we'll come up with like ideas, like riff ideas. I mean, personally myself, I'll come up with like riffs and mainly sort of like song structures. Right. Then I'll send them to the drummer I'll put them onto a server, and what he'll do, he'll download them off the server, use his trigger kit to come up with the drum beats, record the MIDI, send me the MIDI, and because I've got all the exactly the same drum brain patterns built into my computer, and so it all matches up perfectly, and I'll just re-record the riffs to it and chop stuff around, and it keeps going backwards and forwards like that until we're like finished.
Cool. And what do you use personally to put in the studio as far as backline is concerned?
At the moment I use Mesa.
Right.
You know, dual Rex.
Yeah.
Also, I've got a double stack Pitbull Ultimate VST.
Right.
You know, in my own studio, I've got a Pod Pro XT.
So you're still using a lot of Line 6 gear by the sound of it?
Yeah. You know, and also, so and then when we're actually in the studio recording, I mean, sometimes we'll use like the Line 6 like chorus or flange or whatever, you know.
Brilliant.
Little stuff like that.
Brilliant.
Delays. Yeah. We'll use to add a little bit of like little touches here and there, you know. But it's pretty much, I mean, when we are in the studio, we get like literally 20, 30 heads just thrown at us and say, try these.
That's amazing.
You know, so it's all good stuff.
Excellent. Now, we're hearing quite a bit of vibe on the net and so forth. We're talking about a certain new guitar, that you're related to, or that you're involved with. Can you briefly tell us about this new guitar?
It's brilliant. No,
that's what you're here.
Yeah, it is.
Who's it made by?
Paul Smith.
Paul Smith.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Obviously.
Yeah,
no, it's made by Paul Smith.
Excellent.
It's one of their SE models.
Right.
And a few years ago, what happened is I sent a design of a guitar off to Paul Smith.
Right.
And it was a bit of a sort of like a fantasy, really. It was just like, I'd be wicked if you could make this. Hypothetical, you know. Then they come back and said, yeah, we're going to do it. And I was like,
that's the bats, presumably.
Yeah, the private stock I've got, you know.
Excellent.
And they said, yeah, we'll do it. Really, this is pretty bloody amazing, actually. you know. And then I've been playing. That's all I've ever played is Paul Smith.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they come back and says we're having people contact us, phone in the shop, asking if they can buy your guitar.
Wow.
And it was like, yeah, it was like, wow, really? And it says, we want to make an SE version of your guitar. And I said, okay. So what I'd done, I designed, thinking about it's going to be a cheaper guitar, which it is, but only in price, not in quality, you know.
Excellent.
And so I designed the guitar thinking, right, in mind, thinking, right, they're not going to do that inlay because it's going to be too expensive. They're not going to do this. They're not going to do that. So I sent it off to them. They sent it straight back and said, no, we're not doing this. We're going to make it exactly the same as your private stock. And it was like, holy crap. And yeah, and now it's out next month. It comes out.
Can we hope to see you, perhaps, if we're lucky enough to have you in the shop, perhaps signing through models?
Absolutely.
That'd be brilliant. So if you're out there and you're after the new SE Paul Allender model, then hopefully if you get in touch with myself or the guys here, Matt, we can make sure there's one reserved for you, and kind of Paul will kindly come in and sign it for you, which is
yep, absolutely.
a fantastic thing to happen. Just tell us about the physical makeup of the guitar. What about are they stock SE pickups?
No, they're HFS vintage and bass pickups.
As used on custom
24s? Perhaps, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's which is amazing.
So they are PRS designed.
Yeah, PRS designed.
HFS. Well, that's something.
And I've been playing the SE live.
Really?
Yeah, and it sounds amazing. It actually sounds a lot heavier than my private stock.
Really?
Which I'm really surprised.
So would you use this guitar live?
I've been using it all the time live since I've had it, yeah.
Wow. So that says something for you guys who want a great value guitar out there. So what can we expect in the future? Does this guitar come with a bag or anything? So
yeah, it's got the
gig ready?
it's totally gig ready. You know, it's got a floating trim on it. You know, it's on gold hardware. It's all just pretty much exactly the same.
Gold hardware.
Yeah.
That's something quite a new thing for.
Yeah, it's all exactly the same as mine. The only difference is it hasn't got the violin-shaped body on it. It's a flat body.
Right.
You know, just like all the SEs.
Yeah.
But you know, it's pretty much exactly the same as my private stock.
So great. So, but presumably, if you guys want to have a look at this guitar before we actually receive it, is that right? You can actually go on YouTube. Is that right, guys? You can actually log on there, or in fact, better still, go to the Paul Reed Smith site and in USA, and then you go to the Paul Allender model, and then you can hear it demonstrated.
Yeah, it's demonstrated on there. I mean, I've got one at the moment, so what I'll do in like a couple of days, I'll bring it down so you can just hang it in here.
That'd be lovely. So if you guys want to see it before anybody else, check our shop with Paul's assistance. We'll have it on the wall, and you can see what's going to happen. Yep. Fantastic. Finally, your practice regime. You know, you're renowned for your style is different to most of the rock guitar players out there. Your speed picking is phenomenal. Tell us, how do you get to play the way you do? Do you practice, or what are your influences?
I bleed lots. To be fair, I don't. This is really strange. I get asked this quite a lot, and the answer is people are always usually surprised that I don't really practice. You know, because I do a lot of other stuff in the band.
Right.
You know, I don't get time to practice. The only time I ever practice is when I'm writing new stuff or I'm practicing ready to go on tour.
Right.
You know, I don't. The only guitar player I really like is Allender.
Right.
You know, I just think it's brilliant. I'm not into all the latest licks, wanting to play widdly fast and all that stuff. You know, at the end of the day, it's like, I don't know, I just prefer, if the songs are good and they rock like hell, I'm just totally into it, you know, and that's how I practice.
Excellent. Right. So you don't sort of pick up the guitar and have an hour a day like a lot of
No, I've got time to do that.
So you're still busy writing by the sound of it?
Yeah.
And we can expect the new album, what, early next year?
Perhaps, yeah, it's January, hopefully we're going to go to the studio.
So I don't know how long the procedure is, several months after that they'll be available?
6 months or something after that, yeah.
Right, excellent. We've talked about your backline, we've talked about the new guitar. I think it's important to make a date. If you check our website, Trevor Darren Guitar Centre, Paul is going to let us know when the guitars arrive, and he'll be available in the shop at a predetermined date, where you can ask Paul questions. I'm sure you want mine for an hour or two.
Yes,
and he'll sign the guitar if you want one of these fantastic guitars. And boy, from what we've heard, they are absolutely brilliant. So again, feel free to ring us via our website, and Paul will be available as soon as possible to we'll have him in the shop and he'll sign your guitar.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you very much.